So Jhin is a very unique AD carry, and his kit is so different to how most marksmen play. His passive works on an ammo system, and every 4th auto attack always critical strikes and does more damage the lower the target's health. Despite Jhin's long range and burst, he is really hard to be effective on when he gets behind, and he doesn't really have any form of mobility aside from a few movement speed boosts. So on Jhin, you're going to want to max your Q first, as it's your main damaging and trading ability in lane. Then you're going to want to follow that with your W, and then finally your E to finish. For your runes, you're going to want to start off with Dark Harvest, and then fill the domination tree for a bit of improved healing and trading in lane. Then you can go down the precision tree for a bit of mana replenishment and lifesteal. So Jhin has one main mythic item choice, and that's Gale Force. It works incredibly well with Jhin. It gives him extra burst, a bit of mobility, and also additional execute damage alongside his passive. After your mythic item, you can get yourself a Collector. This is an amazing item, giving Jhin more burst and execute opportunities. Infinity Edge is an AD carry's best friend, and although Jin's a bit different, he still thrives when he gets this item. Rapid Fire Cannon is also going to give you extra range and also allow you to snipe people down with your 4th auto shot, or start a fight by catching an opponent out with an auto attack into his W. You also definitely want to pick yourself up a Lord Dominic's Regards if you're against champions who are opting to build armor. This will help you shred them down and take them out with ease. For a few defensive options, you can go for a QSS if you're against heavy CC, a Guardian Angel if you're struggling to stay alive against hard engage or assassins, or if you're versus a heavy magic damage team comp, you can go for a Malmortius to give you the magic damage shield. Don't forget to pick up a Mortal Reminder though if you are against teams with heavy healing. So against easier lanes, you want to look to bully out your opponent using your Q and your 4th shot passive. Jhin is pretty strong in lane early game and can force out enemy carries with ease, strangling them from farm and experience. You want to time your trades around your 4th shot to punish your opponent when they go in for their last hits. In more difficult lanes though, you want to focus on farming up and ramping up as much damage as you can ready for those early team fights. You can farm under turret pretty easily with your passive and your Q. Don't forget that even if you are quite weak in lane, you can still contribute with your long range W and your ultimate if need be. When it comes to champions that work well with Jhin, he works best with champions that can set him up with early kills, providing the crowd control and AoE engage will allow Jhin to sit back and clean up low health targets with his burst and his execution. So, in lane you want to try and control the lane with your Q and your 4th shot auto attack traits. Timing these well around farming will lead to passively bullying your opponent out without even thinking about it. Pay attention to the low health minions and utilise your Q to bounce off of them onto an enemy champion. This does a huge amount of damage and can easily force your opponent back, or even better, kill them. When your allies are engaging, you can use your W to follow that up with a root. As it's quite difficult to hit, your best bet is waiting for your teammates to land their CC so that you simply can't miss. Be careful not to use your Q too often in lane, as this can drain your mana and also constantly push the minion wave, leaving you open to ganks. So in team fights, Jin's purpose is to stay alive whilst dealing as much damage as possible. You'll generally be kiting back with your Q and your W and hitting any frontline targets as they'll be closest to you. Jhin gets extra movement speed off his 4th auto attack, so try to utilise this to weave in and out of team fights. If you stay alive, you can pump out some incredible damage and win the fights for your team. Jin's kit in team fights works well when you can pop in and out of fights around your ammo system. You'll want to try and execute targets with your Q and your 4th shot, as it does an insane amount of burst, so combine this with your Flash and Gale Force and you can cover some serious ground and finish off any high value targets. There is also the other option of opening with your ultimate to catch people out. The slow and the damage can lead teammates into an easy engage. However, if the fight is already started, your basic attacks and abilities will deal a lot more damage than your ult and won't leave you standing still and vulnerable. A quick few tips on how to play Jhin more effectively: try to use your Q and other damage abilities before your 4th shot. It's an execute and will do more damage the lower HP your target has. This, when paired with Gale Force, can be a nasty combination. If you use your ultimate immediately after landing a root with your W, this means your first shot will hit, and therefore it will make the follow-up shots easier to land. You can use Jin's W to prevent face checking brushes. If you see the animation come to a stop, you know there's at least one enemy in the brush. You can abuse your range and burst late game with your itemization. If you see an enemy carry split up, Gale Force into Rapid Fire Cannon auto attack into W, and there's no escaping that. That wraps up our short guide on Jhin. Hopefully your next performance will have more Zaz.